Welcome, Leo, to your in-depth monthly astrology overview and zodiac forecast for April 2026 for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. I'm going to share with you the big themes of the month. Then on screen, your event chart as April begins. Always provides an influential backdrop. I'll then go through the influences frame by frame to give you a clear picture of what you can expect, Leo, in terms of your energy, work, relationships, and finance. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. As we come into this month, there is going to be a growing influence in the part of your chart to do with expansion, knowledge, higher education, even travel, and that's really exciting. But also, there are going to be opportunities professionally, and your personality power is really going to help you with that. And as the month goes on and we get more energy moving into your ninth house, it's really exciting too, potentially for your relationships. But then as we get to the 17th, the new moon, sun cresting with the moon in the sign of Leo, which shares your fire triplicity, that's a great chance to release some ideas, some belief systems, or some limitations that may have held you back because it's conjunct the healer Chiron. The last 10 days, however, can see you really raise your profile very dynamically. Could be great for work, but it could also be a case of who as much as what you know, as Venus and Uranus move into the friendliest part of your chart, but also the most exciting for your long-term future. So on the screen, Leo, is your event chart. We need to be aware of your sun, your ruler, and of course the moon, the two luminaries. The sun's just into Decan 2, which is subruled by the sun, but the sun in Aries is already exalted. So it's a great place for the sun to be, and it's now beyond the more limiting energies of Saturn. And then that ninth house could be giving you a sense of excitement about what's possible. And that's really lovely. But you could also be thinking about the financial side of things. The moon's in the practical Virgo and also in the second house, everyday money. And it is in a broadish opposition with Neptune. So if you are wanting to open up your world, the details will be important because the moon in that opposition with Neptune can be a bit confusing, to be honest. The other standout that I saw with the chart is the fact that Saturn and Pluto are almost in a perfect sextile. Now, Pluto is going to be affecting your relationships for some years to come. But I think one of the things that's really going to call out to you this month is aligning with people who share your values. And the more you do, the more important they can become. The other standout is that Venus, the planet of charm, but also of earthy sensuality, is in its home sign of Taurus, but it's in your 10th house. When you have conversations this month, perhaps it's presentations, meetings, and interviews, your personality power is going to be your ace asset. But the other thing as we go into April, Leo, is that Mercury, which has been going through a torturous time in Pisces, in my humble opinion, it's detrimented in the sign and it went into Pisces on the 6th of February. Think back to then. If you have been discussing a financial, contractual, or entrepreneurial situation, it may not have gone quite to plan. But it does start this month in a great link with the planet of knowledge and good fortune, Jupiter. If you look beneath the surface of your situation as you come into the month, you can see something that's going to give you a lot of insight to guide your moves, and it could prove to be vital and really quite lucky. Mercury will also come out of its post-retrograde shadow on the 9th, so that's something for us all to look forward to. But the other link as you go into this month is Mars. Now, Mars is going to return home on the 9th also to Aries, but from the 3rd to the 9th forges a fantastic link to Uranus. So even if something has felt really frustratingly bogged down in the watery, soggy Pisces, I feel that you could have a breakthrough through the first near to 10 days of this month when your determination and grit can finally see you get over the finishing line. But we have that full moon on the 2nd. Full moon's particularly important for you because the moon is opposing the sun, your ruler. And the moon by then is in the sign of balance, Libra. But the 3rd house for you is very much about quick, chatty conversations. Because Libra is already an air sign, it's not so connected to emotion, and the 3rd house is very far from connected to emotion. So if you are discussing anything this month, and particularly through the first 2 weeks, it will be important not to rush. But I can almost say with certainty that Jupiter will have quite the impact too. You may find something out. It could be linked to an old issue that someone gives you a different perspective on, and it could shift your own thinking in quite a major way. It might be that you're going to hear a little bit of gossip, but what the stars are asking you to do this month is really think big. Go above the mundane, go above your everyday routines. Think about what you're wanting to make your life broader and more enriching. Because the arrival of Mars and Mercury in Aries on the 9th and the 15th is full of rich potential. Not least that Mars is the ruler of Aries, so it's going to give you much greater determination to be more daring and adventurous. Now, of course, it will meet the soggy Neptune, the restrictive Saturn almost straight away, but it also links up with Pluto, sorry. So the two planets, which are very much to do with desire, change, and transformation, are collaborating fabulously well through the end of week 2 and into week 3. So even if you do encounter some obstacles as Mars applies to Saturn, that can be an aspect that gives people enormous grit and determination, but it can also be quite exhausting. So it's important to narrow your focus on what's really key. But if you are applying for a course, whether it's a professional qualification, higher academic institution, or just something online that's giving you a broader understanding, then just be aware that it will require some hard work to actually make that work for you. But then, as the month goes on, we do have the new moon, 27 degrees in Aries on the 17th, in a conjunction with Chiron. If when you were younger, you didn't have the opportunity to go to college, university, you had to take responsibility very young. Maybe there was someone around you, a caregiver, who wasn't particularly encouraging or focused on the importance of knowledge. Well, it's a great chance for you to release any negative view you have of your ability to absorb information. And if you are wanting to travel somewhere, if you're on some kind of trip that has a healing dimension, a retreat, somewhere that's a spa, somewhere that's very peaceful, somewhere that's very much in nature, or it does have some kind of educational dimension to it, your timing is impeccable. But just know, despite the fact that your charm can get you everywhere this month, as usual, with Venus at the top of your chart, she does square off with Pluto through week 1. If you do encounter someone at work who is very, very charming and is pitching an idea to you, and it involves travel or you learning new skills, just try to decipher what they will get from it. You may be hearing what they're telling you you're going to get, but try to understand what their motive is, because when Venus and Pluto square off, that's something that's important to understand. Now, there could, in an existing relationship, be a little bit of a power battle this month, particularly if you feel that you're locked into something which is really limiting your personal freedom. And that's where Uranus moving at the end of the month is so intriguing. But on the 20th, we do have the sun making its way right to the top of your chart, which is about ambition. But it too is going to square off with Pluto. You may encounter around your professional situation some heavy politics, but with Venus moving into your friendship sector, followed by Uranus on the 26th, that can just give you a real jolt to think, what would happen if I really stepped outside of what I know well and did something radically different? Because one of the intriguing things for you, Leos, is although you are the most charismatic member of the zodiac, and people often look to you for your leadership skills, you do actually find it sometimes a bit challenging to make big changes because you're a fixed sign. And when you do make changes, you often like to make them with some kind of partnership or connection to someone else. But what Uranus is going to encourage you to do for the next 7 years is to be much more radical in your approach in terms of shaking things up. So do be aware if there are people in your world who don't share your philosophy, who in some ways are limiting your ability to grow and evolve as a human being, your desire to break free from them is going to become quite profound. Now, I'm going to summarize those 4 areas, but just before I do, just to say if you've yet to watch your Saturn 29-year cycle deep dive video, please see that on screen. You can get your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see the link below. Get your celestial pit stop. I've written these for many years. And if you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonial below. Now, if you'd like to apply this kind of more detailed astrology in your everyday life and life journey, you can order my personal reports and get 50% off by applying Astro 26 or Draco 26 for the natal and draconic versions. Draconic is the sole karmic option. Please see the link below. So to summarize, when it comes to your career, I think charm will get you everywhere, but it is important to understand the power dynamic, particularly over week 1. Knowledge is important this month, but so is travel. So is having an appetite to expand your world. It may be with Saturn in this part of your situation that it's not easy for you to do that, but Mars brings more thrust, and so does Mercury bring more agility with your thinking. But I think it really is that link between Pluto and Saturn that's quite profound. Something around a relationship is going to be transformed. But if there is a resistance to that transformation, it could show up and create a tension. But Mars comes along to try to free you from that tension. And then at the end of the month, you're really being pushed to think afresh about all sorts of areas of your life. Have a great month, Leo. All the best. Take care and goodbye.